What's going on, guys? Hornot606 here, once again bringing you another figure from the collection. This time I am bringing you the Marvel Legends Kingpin, which is a re-release of the previous Build-A-Figure. Slightly different design. I think this one's a little bit more based on the comic book, based on the color of the shirt, which is orange and blue. I don't know if that's like a neck scarf or a shirt underneath. I don't know what that is. Whereas the previous version was an all white version, white suit, white trousers. Kind of would have liked the animated series version where you had the black shirt underneath. But what we got here is just fine. I've never had a Kingpin in my collection before. I never had the old Toy Biz one, and I obviously didn't get the previous Build-A-Figure, because the previous Build-A-Figure you had to collect 6 figures, and quite frankly most of the characters in that wave I've never heard of and not that popular, and just wasn't interested in them. They weren't the most interesting of characters, and I wasn't willing to buy a whole set of characters just to get the Kingpin. Thankfully Hasbro has re-released the figure, as they've been doing quite a lot over the past number of years now. They've done it before. Again, we've had re-releases of things like the Juggernaut and other characters, which I've added to my collection, thankfully enough. So the figure is fantastic. It's pretty much everything it needs to be for me. I'm happy to have another Spider-Man villain in my collection. He doesn't come with too many accessories. He does come with his cane. He does come with an alternative head, which is a more beaten up face sculpt, and one normal kind of looking face. Previously, I think he came with if you got the previous Build-A-Figure and collected all of the figures, he did come with I think the character's called Shadow King head, and you could obviously swap out the head and have a Shadow King if you really wanted to. But obviously I've missed out on that, so well, not really missed out on that. All those figures, because they're not that popular, you could still go out and go get them and build that Kingpin figure if I really wanted to. But apart from that, there's nothing else with this figure. Articulation wise, it's everything that the Kingpin needs to be. He's not the most flexible of characters, but then again, it's the Kingpin. He's not known for his combat skills or anything like that. He is basically a crime lord boss, and I think he's been perfectly represented here. Paint details are nice. After messing around with the figure for a while, you do notice there's a red mark on the shirt. I think when I was posing him with Spider-Man, some of the red on Spider-Man I think rubbed off onto the shirt. That's what you can see it there. I guess it kind of looks like a blood stain, to be honest, but so I guess in that way it kind of adds to the figure when he's got this alternative beaten up head sculpt on. So onto the articulation very quickly. So head can rotate from side to side. It can move up and down, so you can get quite a bit of movement going up. Yeah, you can get enough range moving down as well. Obviously arms can move out, no problems. It can rotate as well. There is an elbow joint, only a single one it looks like. Hands can swivel. There's a hinge on there as well. Obviously that's the same on the other arm as well. There is a kind of diaphragm joint here. You can turn that side to side. You're not really going to get anything else from that, but you can move it forward and backwards. I think more backwards than forwards, to be honest. Stomach kind of hinders the forward part. There's no waist, but then obviously the diaphragm at the top will turn from left to right. Legs, you can split them apart to a certain point. You can move it forward. It kind of goes off to the side when you do that. You can move it back a little bit. There is some knee joint in there as well. There is a upper leg swivel there. Shoes, there is a hinge. You can get some movement from that. I can't really get much from the feet, but you can turn it side to side and tilt that if you want to. I can't really get much range from that, but it is everything that it needs to be. Now moving on, here he is standing next to other iconic Spider-Man villain, Electro. Obviously Kingpin towers over Electro. He is that big guy after all, and from what I remember of the TV series, he towered over a lot of people. Here he is next to the Grey Hulk. Obviously nowhere near as big. Grey Hulk completely just dominates him here, but he's still a big guy. Kingpin's still a big guy, but here he is next to Grey Hulk. There's that comparison right there. Here he is next to Spider-Man, that I guess is part of the same wave, even though the Build-A-Figure is separate. But if this wave did have a Build-A-Figure, it would be this character would come with one of the pieces. As you can see, he is way bigger than Spider-Man. Spider-Man is an awesome figure, by the way. I love this Spider-Man. I love the little diaphragm joint, gives it that kind of extra flexibility in the figure. Hopefully maybe one day I might do a quick look at that figure too. And here he is next to another Build-A-Figure, Apocalypse. This was the first Apocalypse Build-A-Figure that I have. There is another Apocalypse that got released this year, pretty recently, which I was able to pick up as well. And here he is. So both versions are taller than the Kingpin, it seems. All the figures pretty chunky in size. Both Apocalypse figures are fantastic. I love both of them. Probably I'll have a look at those in a separate video, but that's another set of basically Build-A-Figures compared to the Kingpin Build-A-Figure. Next we will have the Power Rangers Dino Thunder White Ranger. Here's a quick look at that. Kingpin completely towers over him, which I would assume if there was in the comic book universe, I would say that Kingpin would definitely tower over the Dino Thunder White Ranger. And lastly but not least, we saw him in the previous video, the figurized standard War Greymon amplified next to the Kingpin. I love this figure. I think it's awesome. I talked about it in my previous video. I do like it. It has its problems, but that's how it looks next to Kingpin. So all in all, it is a superb figure. As I said before, I love having it in my collection. It's nice to have another Spider-Man, one of the main Spider-Man villains in my collection. Kingpin. I was a big fan of the Kingpin, especially when I was watching that animated cartoon. One of the big crime bosses in that particular cartoon, in the Marvel universe in fact. Apart from that, kind of wish he came with some extra hands, so another fist for the other hand and another open hand for the other hand. Instead he just comes with one of each, which is a bit of a disappointment. That would have been nice. I kind of hate when they do those things. They give you one but not the other. I was like, why not just give us, both fists and both open hands? It kind of helps out a lot. Apart from that, it doesn't really need anything else. I mean, Kane is the most significant thing he has in terms of accessories. He's the Kingpin, doesn't need anything else. I don't think there's much else for me to say, but I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you enjoyed the images, and thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.